Hey everyone, it's Pixel Cadet right here. Today I want to talk about my most recent board game ideas with you, and where I would like to bounce the ideas and potentially gather some feedback. And before I talk further about it, I want to show you quickly my latest prototype for this new board game ideas, and it looks like so. And as you can see, this looks really similar to my Pocket Dungeon board game, because actually I came up or stumbled upon these ideas while I was trying to redesign the box for my Pocket Dungeon project. I still don't even have a name for this game yet, but I already have some prototype board game pieces and stuff. There is even a really cool drawer that you can open that stores a crew tag that we can discuss about it further. But as you guys maybe can already guess where this is going, while I was trying to redesign the Pocket Dungeon box, I realized that that box has already some elements in it, like a gridded board games with some holes to put a peg on, also some coordinates. And I was thinking maybe I can repurpose this to create a Battleship game using this box. And yeah, this is where the whole idea came from. Basically, I want to create a Battleship game that has some strong RPG aspects in it. So this is what I came up so far. You still have the two coordinated board on both sides like so, but this is where the fun part's gonna go. You can see here, it's not like a typical layout of a formation of Battleship, but instead something else. So yeah, in this video I want to talk more about this new project, and I also want to share with you some game mechanics and rules that I already came up with so far. So without further ado, let's delve deeper into this unnamed board game. Basically, in this game, you're gonna play as a small group of crew that controls a spaceship, and you need to engage with another spaceship in a space battle. And I was thinking, to start the game we first need to build our spaceship using these tiles right here and also these blocks right here. Each of this block has its own function. For instance, this thing right here is a cannon, and it will be used to shoot your opponents. And I also built this thing right here, which is also quite important. I call this a CO2 plant. Basically, this thing generates CO2 into an oxygen and a small amount of electricity to power the spaceship. And we will cover what does this actually do in the game later on. This is the empty tiles to build your spaceship. And there is much more stuff. For instance, this one right here, the cylindrical thing. I was thinking to make this as a shield generator or a force field generator for your spaceship. And this one right here, they are all really small, but yeah, it has some detail in it. I hope you guys can see the details as well. This one right here, I was thinking that this could be a radar that can be used to search an area for object. And yeah, basically we just need to build the spaceship first by placing all the tiles. So maybe I think I need to print more empty tiles, because I just realized that this is not enough to build something that at least looks like a spaceship. I think the idea here that each tile needs to be connected to each other, because if not, then it's a weird spaceship and it doesn't make sense unless it's somehow connected with like invisible force or something. Maybe we can come up with something like that, but maybe for now this is how the spaceship gonna look like. And it's also up to you to place the spaceship on the board. It doesn't need to be on the centers, maybe it can be right here or top corner, and that way it can also help you you know, hide from your opponent, you know, like a classic Battleship game tactic. Maybe I will put yeah, more tiles here. This could be a, it could be a, like a weapon bay, maybe like so. Yeah, I definitely need more tiles. Maybe this is the base of our spaceship. Looks really weird. Then we can start adding the facilities in the ship. Maybe I'll put the shield generator right here. Maybe CO2 plant should stay in the middle. And also, as you can see, different facilities has a different shape of the base. For instance, the cannon right here has a circle base, and CO2 scrubber right here has a square base, and we'll cover what does it mean later on in the game. So yeah, maybe I'll place two CO2 plant like so, and then I will start putting the gun. So, because this is a small spaceship, I think it can only have two guns. Maybe we can add something right here to balance out the shape a bit. So yeah, this is maybe how our spaceship gonna look like. And then after that, we can drop our crews wherever we want at the beginning. Maybe this squid looking alien can stay at the back. This human astronaut this human in astronaut suit can stay at the front, like so. Right, so I think this is how you want to set up the game, or also this slider. Now let's cover about what does CO2 plant do. CO2 plant, just like I said before, its function is basically it generates oxygen and small amount of electricity from CO2, and because we have two plants right like so, it means that we start the game with an oxygen level at 2, like so. And what it does basically, this O2 level right here determine how many action you can do per turn. If your O2 level is at 2, it means that each turn you have 2 action points that you can spend per turn. Action point can be used to move your crews or use your crews to operate any facilities within your spaceship. The other thing here is a force field generator or a shield generator, and because we have one shield generator right here, it means that this slider right here is to determine at what level is your shield currently. It means if we only have one, then our shield or force field is currently at 1. We'll cover how to use this later on. This is basically how to set up the game, and let's cover the gameplay. Basically, I was thinking to play this game, it's still essentially a battleship game. So it means that we're gonna take turn to attack each other by guessing the coordinates, right? But on top of that, before we can do so, we need to first move around our crews to do a specific operation or action. So the idea here that each player takes turn, then in your turn you spend your actions to either move your crews or operate any facilities within your ship. For instance, if you want to shoot your enemy, then it means that your crew needs to move adjacent to a cannon and then operate the cannon to shoot. To do so, because we have 2 action points, we're gonna spend 1 action to move the crews towards the cannon. To move your crews, you need to roll a dice, a d4 dice, If it's a 1, then it means that your crews can only move 1 tile, which makes you still far away from the cannon. You can also spend your second action, last action you have in this turn, to move again, for instance, because you want to rush quickly to the cannon. Let's roll the dice again. You get a 3, it means that you can walk up to 3 tiles. So in this case, we just need 1 more to be adjacent to the cannon. Let's say that you still have 1 action left and you want to shoot your opponent. To do so, you need to use your crew to operate the cannon. How to successfully operate the cannon is basically by using a d4 dice and do a skill check. As you can see here, this is the crew tag that corresponds to the crew right here. It has 3 stats here with 3 different unique symbols. One is a square, one is a circle, one is a square, and the other one is a star right here. Maybe I'll use a different color here so that it can be more legible. One is a square, one is a circle, one is a square, and one is a star. Each of these symbols has a meaning actually. Basically, a circle one is for your martial skill test, anything that has something to do with combat. And the square symbol right here signifies the technical and engineering skill test. And lastly, this star shape symbol right here signifies a navigational and stellar skill test. Basically, circle is to fight, square is for anything techy, repair, build, blah blah. Each of this number basically signifies how hard it is to pass the skill test for each of your crew. So, for instance, this crew right here wants to operate the cannon. The cannon has a circular base. It means that we're gonna do a martial skill test. This crew has a 3 as a martial skill test. It means that you need to roll a d4. As long as you get a 1, a 2, or a 3, because it has a 3, you will operate the thing successfully, or you will pass the skill test. Let's try to roll. We get a 3, and it means that your crew successfully operate the cannon. If it's successful, then you can shoot your opponent, and it's gonna be like a classic Battleship game. You're just gonna choose the coordinate, guess where it's gonna be. Let's say it's a C4, then after you successfully operate the cannon, use a C4. You're gonna state that to your opponent, and your opponent will say if it's a hit or a miss. And for this game, I was thinking to add one more signal. So if you guess a coordinate to try to shoot your opponent's spaceship, your opponent can say a hit if you really hit something, a miss if you hit nothing, and on top of that, I will have one more signal that I call blocked. Blocked basically means there could be an object in that coordinate, but because of a force field or any other contraption, the attack just doesn't land, or the missiles doesn't really hit. And this is where we're gonna talk about a force field. Basically, a force field is the shield that is surrounding your spaceship to protect you from an incoming projectiles. But force field can also be down when it gets attacked multiple times, right? Yeah, same goes with game here. Basically, you will have a shield generator, and every shield generators built in the ship contribute to 1 point of force field level here, and you can go only up to 2 maximum. And the way it works, I was thinking, if your opponent correctly guess coordinate where your ship is there, instead of saying hit because there is something there, if you still have a force field up like so, you say blocked because force field is still up. There was something, but it was blocked thanks to the force field. So you say block to your opponent and then lower your force field level to 0. Basically, every time your force field got hits, you need to reduce it by 1 and say blocked. When your force field is finally lowered or down to 0, next time you got hit again in the spot where your spaceship is there, then you take a full damage. Taking full damage means that, you know, let's say that this part right here got hit, it takes full damage. It means that the cannons is destroyed. And let's say that your opponent managed to hit this spot right here where your crew is standing, and there is no force field to protect you from that. It means that both your crew and the tiles underneath that are gone, like so. So now you have one cannon right here that cannot be accessed anymore. So it means that whenever you try to build your spaceship, you also need already to think ahead of, like, you know, what would happen if one part got shot. Maybe shouldn't build everything closely together. It's gonna be easy for you to move around and do multiple action at the same time, but also it will make it quite prone to attack and barrage, and you might lose all your facilities at once. And also same goes, for instance, if your CO2 plant got hit, like so. It means now your oxygen level is lowered from 2 to 1. It means that next turn you can only do one action per turn. So yeah, that's the basic of this game. So essentially it's still a battleship game where you take turns and guess a coordinate and hoping that you will hit your opponent's spaceship. But I was trying to add another layer here, an RPG layer, so that you also move a crews with different stats. You need to do a skill test to successfully do something within your ship. Speaking of skill tests, you can also use your crew not only to operate your cannon to shoot. You can also use your crew to operate other facilities within the ship. For instance, this force field right here. Let's say you start with 1 right at the beginning because you only have 1 force field generator, and then you got hit, you managed to block it, but then the force field is now lowered to 0. You can use your crew to reboot your force field generator so that it goes back up to 1 again. To do so, in your turn, you need to move your crew and it needs to be adjacent to the facility, and in this case it's a force field generator. You need then to perform a technical skill test to see if you manage to reboot the force field generator or not. Because we are using this crew right here to do the skill test, let's check what stats does he have for a technical skill test. That is signified by a square, and it has a 2. It means that to reboot the force field successfully, we need to roll either a 1 or 2. Unfortunately, it rolls a 3, meaning that he failed to reboot the force field. Means nothing happened, the force field still stays at 0. Let's say that if this person right here, this crew right here, managed to roll a 2 like so, it means that the skill test is successful. He managed to reboot the force field, and the force field goes back up to 1 again. It means that in the next turn, if your opponent tries to hit another part where your spaceship is at, instead of getting hit, you say blocked, and then the force field lowered to 0 again. Each facility has its own feature or function that can help you strategize and survive. For instance, I was thinking this CO2 plant can also be upgraded or rejigged. So let's say you move your crews right here, and if you want, you can try to do a technical test to rejig the CO2 plant. If you successfully rejig the CO2 plant, then it will increase your O2 level from 2 to 3. I think I need to put a cap on the amount of force field level and O2 level maximum you can have. So I was thinking maybe 4 is the maximum of O2 you can have, and 2 is the maximum of force field level you can have. If you have, say, 3 level of force field, the game's gonna take so long. And yeah, same goes with the O2 level. If you have 5 or 6, apart from there's not much space for the slider here, I think the game's gonna prolong significantly. Maybe I can say in the lore, basically, this is the amount of oxygen level that is still safe in the spaceship, because more than that, your spaceship is just gonna turn into just like a giant propane tank or something. And the force field is just like, there is not, I don't know, maybe like there is not energy source yet to somehow sustain a 3-level force field or something. I just need to come up with a story for that. And lastly, I was thinking maybe I can create like special traits for different crews. I was thinking maybe for this robot, although it has a mediocre stats all around, maybe I can create that since this is a robot, it doesn't require an oxygen to move. I don't know. Could be kind of cool, but I'm not sure if it's too overpowered or not. It means that if I use this robot, regardless of how many oxygen level do I have, even if it's 0, this thing can still move once per turn, or can still do 1 action per turn. And this alien right here, I was thinking, because it's an alien anyway, maybe its spatial traits is that it can traverse the outer space and it's not constrained by the tiles of your spaceship. So it can also move like on outer space, and even if your part of your starship is destroyed, this alien can still walk around. And yeah, so that's what I came up so far. I'm not sure if this is gonna be a solo gameplay type of board game. This is more like a 2-player type of board game. But yeah, I'm open for any type of input or ideas of how is this gonna turn out. And yeah, as always, I really want to know what you guys think, and let me know if you guys have some ideas or input or some feedback about this game. Anyway, this is my latest board game based on the Pocket Dungeon that I created a while ago. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.